A new one-dose drug for flu suppression. World leaders sign Gaza ceasefire deal in Egypt. And U.S. hints at de-escalation in tariffs feud with China. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. As the current flu season continues to affect residents across the city, Center for Health Protection Controller Edwin Choi said he is worried it may coincide with the upcoming arrival of the winter flu season. This as some family doctors note the single intake of a newly available type of medication is capable of suppressing the flu virus, but add that consumption should only be limited to those aged 12 or above. Timothy Lee reports.
Since entering the peak of the flu season in the middle of last month, the virus has already claimed the life of a 13-year-old secondary school student. The girl, who studied at a school in Ma'anshan, earlier contracted the influenza B virus. She died on Sunday and was confirmed to have suffered from a combination of encephalopathy, myocarditis, and shock. Some in the healthcare sector noted consuming the Tamiflu drug within 48 hours of the onset of flu symptoms could effectively suppress the virus. The entire course of treatment lasts for a total of 5 days, requiring 10 intakes. Some family doctors said an upgraded version of the drug is now available, which only requires a single dose for flu suppression. Family Dr. Lam Wing-wall stressed the upgraded drug may only be suitable for those aged 12 or above, adding that the original version is preferable for elderly patients with chronic illnesses. Lam emphasized the key to successful treatment is the early detection of symptoms. Regarding the effectiveness of various test kits available on the market, Lam said the most basic test kits are already capable of providing users with essential information on their flu status. Over the past 4 weeks, the city recorded an average of 70 influenza cases per week, compared with just 15 in the same period of time during the winter flu season at the beginning of this year. Center for Health Protection Controller Edwin Choi raised concern over the possibility of the current flu season overlapping with the peak of the coming winter flu season, as he believes the current flu season will last until November. He urged the public to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
68-year-old Martin Liao is the latest veteran lawmaker not running in the upcoming Legislative Council elections. Chief Executive John Lee says it is normal for any groups or bodies to see changes of personnel. Joining the growing list of lawmakers stepping down from the upcoming LegCo elections is Martin Liao, who has represented the commercial second functional constituency as a legislator since 2012. When as if his age plays a factor in his decision, the 68-year-old says he has other projects and work which demand more of his time and is his personal decision. He also denies having received any instructions from Beijing. 70-year-old Tony Tse from the architectural, surveying, planning and landscape sector says he's consulting his sector whether to run in the LegCo polls, stressing that age is not the only factor. Ronak Chen, representing the banking sector seen as a favorite to take over as the president of the next legislature, says he has not decided whether to run for elections. He says the new LegCo president will be elected by the newly elected lawmakers, so there's no way one would know who would take the helm. Meeting the press ahead of the Executive Council meeting, Chief Executive John Lee was asked if there's an age threshold and whether the government has helped appraise lawmakers' performances.
It is normal for any organization to see change of personnel during a change of term. Some in their 30s, some in their 40s, some in their 70s. They have told their own reasons, such as family reasons or the desire to pass on the torch to the newcomers. These are their personal choices. I respect their decisions.
Some lawmakers who have given up seeking re-election are also EXCO members. Lee says so far no members have resigned from their EXCO position. The government announced that the southbound travel for Guangdong vehicle scheme will be implemented as soon as next month, with eligible cars allowed to enter urban areas in Hong Kong. The initial quota for Guangdong cars entering the urban area is set at 100 per day, with a maximum stay of 3 days. The cap will be increased in the future depending on the implementation situation, citizens and drivers' adaptation, and the use of supporting facilities. Participating drivers need to hold a Hong Kong driving license and purchase third-party car insurance for the vehicle. Vehicles entering the country must enter the city must undergo vehicle inspection under Hong Kong's requirements. Egyptian leader Abdel Fattah el-Sisi told a summit of world leaders that U.S. President Donald Trump's Middle East proposal represents the last chance for peace in the region, and reiterated his call for a two-state solution. The summit in Egypt's Red Sea resort town of Sharm el-Sheikh was aimed at supporting the ceasefire reached in Gaza, ending the Israel-Hamas war, and developing a long-term vision for governing and rebuilding the devastated Palestinian territory. Trump was at the center of the summit. Nasri Karim with details.
Can we get the documents, please?
You'll sign them right here.
With that, Trump and other leaders from around the world signed off on Gaza's future, laying the groundwork for what they hope is a lasting peace in the Middle East and an independent Palestinian state.
This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up.
The signing took place shortly after Trump arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt for a global summit on Gaza's future. He arrived from Israel, where he celebrated a US-brokered ceasefire with Hamas in which all living hostages were released. Nearly 36 countries, including some from Europe and the Middle East, were represented at the summit. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has publicly dismissed any chance of Palestinian statehood, was invited to the summit but declined. Before the signing, Trump addressed the gathering of leaders, who included British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is a tremendous day for the world. It's a tremendous day for the Middle East. And you can see that this is probably the greatest assemblage of countries in terms of wealth and power maybe ever assembled, and it's just an honor to be a part of it.
Earlier, when welcoming the leaders to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi said Egypt, its Arab and Islamic allies, confirmed that peace remains their strategic choice. He urged the world not to ignore the rights of Palestinians to enjoy freedom and to live in an independent state that exists alongside Israel in peace, security and mutual recognition. Starmer said the challenge now remains to implement the proposal.
But you're absolutely right. The challenge now is tomorrow, an implementation. And therefore, yes, today is historic, but what happens tomorrow really matters. And that's why what I've been discussing with leaders all day is what part can we play? The question today has already moved to how do we implement, how do we make sure this moves forward? And it's really important that we keep that focus. We mustn't have any missteps now.
Soon after the summit, Trump was back on Air Force One, returning to the US. He leaves behind both hope and uncertainty, with many questions still unanswered. Nasri Karim, TVB News.
Beijing has vowed countermeasures in response to Washington's latest tariff threat and moved to add several South Korean shipping subsidiaries linked to the U.S. to its sanctions list. Officials from the two sides confirmed they remain in communication in recent days. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent noted the prospective Trump-Xi meeting on APEC sidelines later this month will still be on. Danny Zhou has details.
U.S. President Donald Trump is carrying out a threat to slap 100% additional tariffs on all Chinese goods. The foreign ministry showed no sign of backing down. A spokesman said threatening is not the right way to deal with Beijing and criticized a raft of trade actions imposed by the U.S. government in recent months targeting China. He urged the U.S. to follow the important consensus reached by the two heads of state, properly manage differences and safeguard the stable and healthy development of their trade ties. This, as U.S. Treasury Chief Scott Bessent hinted a sign of de-escalation in a latest interview with Fox Business Network. He said he believes the meeting between Donald Trump and President Xi Jinping in South Korea will still be on. According to Bessent, the two sides were having substantial communications and more meetings are expected. As for the new tariff rate, Bessent suggested it would not kick in until November the 1st and said the 100% tariff does not have to happen. China's Ministry of Commerce confirmed they remain in communication under the Trade and Economic Consultation Mechanism, and that a working-level meeting was held on Monday. It added it had informed the U.S. before the announcement of tightening rare earth exports. A statement from the ministry wrote, "The U.S. cannot ask for talks while simultaneously rolling out new restrictive measures." Meanwhile, China's worldwide export, including shipments to Southeast Asia, Latin America and Africa, hit a 6-month high despite fizzling tensions with the US. Official figures showed an 8.3% increase year-on-year. Officials from the General Administration of Customs Affairs told reporters China's robust industrial system made it a key link in the global industrial and supply chains. With China and the US starting to collect special charges on each other's vessels from Tuesday, Beijing announced sanctions against 5 US-linked subsidiaries of South Korea's shipping giant Hanwha Ocean, accusing them of aiding Washington in its curbs on Chinese shipbuilding. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
The Dutch government took effective control of Chinese-owned chipmaker Nexperia earlier this week in what is said was over worries that corporate governance shortcomings pose a potential risk to European economic security. In a statement today, the China Semiconductor Industry Association said it firmly opposes discriminatory measures targeting specific companies, stressing that such actions harm the open, inclusive, and coordinated ecosystem of the global semiconductor industry. The association's statement echoed remarks made by Chinese Foreign Minister spokesman Lin Jian at an earlier press briefing, during which he urged the relevant country to earnestly abide by market principles and not politicize trade or economic issues. Welcome back. It's a big night for the Hong Kong-China football team as they will play Bangladesh in the Kai Tak Main Stadium for an Asian Cup qualifier game starting 8 o'clock. Well before the game started, fans of the Hong Kong team had gathered outside the stadium showing their support. Fans said they are confident Hong Kong will win tonight because Hong Kong beat Bangladesh 4-3 in the away game last Thursday. And should they win tonight, Hong Kong will be a big step closer in reaching the Asian Cup finals in Saudi Arabia in 2027. And our reporter Celine Chan is now at Kai Tak. Hi Celine, what is it like at Kai Tak right now?
Yes, Jackie, with less than 15 minutes until the game officially kicks off, the atmosphere here, even outside the Kai Tak Stadium, is electric. As we can see, spectators, with the majority of them being Hong Kong team supporters, are entering the stadium smoothly. Well, some of them would even chant slogans or sing before entering the stadium. The Kai Tak Stadium is now a vibrant red sea with occasional groups of Bangladesh supporters passing through in a friendly sportsmanship-first spirit. And some team news, Rafael Merkis, who scored a hat-trick last week, remains the super sub for this match. And that's all the update we have as for now. Back to you at the studio.
And to facilitate the men's individual road cycling event for this year's National Games, temporary traffic controls will be implemented on the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge and surrounding areas on November 8th. The road race is the only event spanning Guangdong, Hong Kong and Macau. Starting 7:30 a.m. that day, traffic from Hong Kong to Zhuhai and Macau the bridge will be controlled, while Hong Kong-bound traffic will be prohibited starting 9 a.m. For those needing to cross the bridge before it closes, they must arrive at the Hong Kong Port Passenger Clearance Building or Vehicle Clearance Plaza by 6:30 a.m. to complete all departure and border crossing procedures. Reports in Madagascar say the police have joined youth-led protesters opposing the president who appears to have fled the country. An elite military unit had already joined Gen Z-led anti-government demonstrations who are calling for Andry Rajoelina and his government to resign. David Garrett reports.
It's not clear where or when this message from Madagascar's president was recorded. Andry Rajoelina says he declined an offer of troops from African countries and has gone into hiding. I was forced to find a safe location to protect my life, he said, with reports he'd fled the country on a French military plane after a deal with the French government. That rumour emerged along with this message as opposition leaders told Reuters that the 51-year-old was no longer on the island and a coup was underway. Rajoelina says he's open to dialogue to usher us out of this difficult situation. These young people were already celebrating his demise as the army that had helped Rajoelina into power turned against him. Soldiers celebrated with students having heard the president had left Madagascar. We have protested for 3 weeks, Carol says. We reject the presidential regime. We have been betrayed and lied to. Today, it's a new beginning. draped in the white, red and green of the Madagascar flag, and Bora says it's a big victory. The army is with us. Thank you. Troops alongside teenagers and 20-something demonstrators in the capital as army leaders came out in support of the anti-government movement. The UN say more than 20 people have died in violence since the protest began 3 weeks ago. David Garrett, TVB News.
The Hong Kong Institute of Human Resource Management estimates that salary increases in Hong Kong will be around 3.5% next year. But only 30% of companies have indicated they will raise pay. Between January and September of this year, the Institute surveyed 167 organizations across various industries, covering 142,000 full-time employees. 68% of these companies indicated they had not yet decided whether to increase salaries next year. The Institute said a wait-and-see attitude was prevalent. As for the average salary increase for employees this year, it was only 2.7%, a year-on-year decrease of 0.5 percentage points. Since December last year, the Hong Kong Red Cross has sent 6 local medical volunteers to the heart of Gaza, a region devastated by 2 years of conflict. Now, as a new round of ceasefire takes hold, Hong Kong medics who returned from the war zone are appealing for more support to not just help with the ongoing humanitarian efforts, but also reconstruction plans in Gaza. Dr. Au Yu Kai has spent 35 years caring for Hong Kong's patients. Yet his most testing moments have come far from home over the past 11 humanitarian missions in war zones. Dr. Au says he witnessed the most heart-wrenching moments in his 3 most recent deployments in Gaza.
Ukraine, in Iraq, in Yemen, the victims we receive most, they are the soldiers, they are the militants. But this time is most received is the civilians. And we can see a lot of elderly women and children, they are being attacked, quite heartbreaking.
Also having served 3 missions in Gaza was nurse Walter Leung, a recent recipient of the Florence Nightingale Medal. For emergency doctor Stanley Chow, extremely tight resources at the field hospital meant they cannot treat some critically injured patients.
Sometimes when there's too much patient when they come here, we have limited resources, we cannot cure everyone. I have to make the choice. Of course, this is a difficult choice. I still asking for myself, and is this a good choice or not?
From December to February, the Hong Kong Red Cross is planning to deploy at least 3 medical personnel to a field hospital in Gaza, while calling on the public to continue supporting their humanitarian relief and reconstruction efforts. The International Committee of the Red Cross as a neutral intermediary has also helped facilitate the latest transfer of 20 Israeli hostages released by Hamas. As most hospitals in Gaza have been badly damaged, Red Cross field hospitals are now handling around 70 cases a day, more than double last year's figure. Even though the ceasefire offers a brief respite, the scars of war remain deep. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.